As far as the expanded protections for children, there were three things going on here. The first is when somebody asks Apple's virtual assistant for either information about if they feel like they've been victimized by child exploitation, or if, on the other hand, they're going out looking for stuff that they shouldn't be looking for, if they're looking to basically victimize children. There's a whole new set of answers coming from Apple's virtual assistant and search that basically try to intercede, that try to direct people to resources that could help them rather than just, serving them the information or, not knowing what the heck they're talking about. Absolutely nobody has any problem with that. The other two parts people had a couple of problems with. There was a thing that Apple has actually gone ahead and put in where if on a kid's account, the child is either sending or receiving images that it looks like have nudity in them. Originally, Apple's plan was they were going to say to the kid, hey, are you sure you want to? And that was followed by, okay, but if you do, we're going to tell your parents. And a lot of people had a problem with that one because you don't know that the person controlling the family account is actually the parent. And then you're also just opening them up to a world of potential recrimination from the parent as well. It's kind of weird to me that that was the sticking point, but okay, Apple said, fine, we're going to go ahead and keep warning the kids. We're going to keep telling the kids it's okay. They don't need to look at this image. They don't need to send this image, but if they go ahead and do it anyway, that's between them and, whomever. Apple is not notifying the parents at this point. The other thing that really lit the internet's hair on fire is Apple is planning to match photos that are either stored in iCloud or photos that are uploaded to iCloud against child sexual abuse material, or CSAM as it's called. They're not going to be looking at the picture, but they're going to take the picture, they're going to turn it into a hash, they're going to have taken all of this other known CSAM, turn that into a hash as well. And so even though they're not laying the pictures over each other, they're laying the hashes over each other. And if those hashes match, they know pretty much what's in your picture. I'm surprised, actually, Apple is letting more of those than I would be comfortable letting through. I think 30 is the number they said, around 30. If you get around 30 of those in your iCloud account, then they're calling the cops. They got one or maybe two, because one could be an accident. It's just surprising to me they're going that high on that number. But anyway, Apple has gone ahead and they did the Siri thing and the search thing immediately. They, with 15.2, they did the thing where if a child is sending a picture that probably has nudity in it, they're going ahead and warning that child. And Apple has removed the part about CSAM from their website, but they're still doing it. So Apple actually, I think it was around the same day that the 15.2 update came out, so about a week ago as this is being recorded, they took that part off their website. And a lot of people assumed that meant that Apple had backed down, that they had relented, that the people who were against it won. And then The Verge got in touch with, I want to say it was Shane Bauer, a spokesperson for Apple, I believe. And forgive me if I got that name wrong, but they got in touch with a spokesperson from Apple, and he was like, yeah, no, we just took it off the website. We're still doing it. The plan's still the plan. We're going to do that. Removing it from the website has nothing to do with it, which that's like amazing to me. I think it was Philip Elmer DeWitt over at Apple 3.0 who said, did Apple really think people wouldn't notice? And I don't think it's that. I think what Apple knows is that people are going to forget. People are going to forget, and it's going to happen without anybody even knowing. And if you're fine with that, you're fine with it. And if you're not fine with it, you're going to forget either that, or what's awful is then there started to be all these things like, so here's how you hide things you don't want Apple to know you have an iCloud. And I kind of don't want to let that information out because what they're fighting is awful. The question is how they're fighting it. Is that okay? So I don't know. Thoughts, Adam?
Well, what's a little amazing to me is that Apple's getting dinged for their transparency on this more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like other companies do this. Actually, Apple's been supposedly doing a form of this for a long time anyway. But, Google does this. Other companies do this, other photo services are doing these kinds of fingerprinting and scans and things like that. And ultimately it's for the greater good. Now, obviously, if you're big on privacy, this feels like a massive violation, and it's totally understandable. Um,
Well,
so it's definitely something worth debating. I think the biggest thing for me is that Apple brought it out in the open, and at least the conversation's happening, right? And people are thinking about this. Um,
forgive me for interrupting.
yeah,
If I could, I don't think, because I don't believe anybody was saying we don't want you looking for child
right.
pornography
No,
in
nobody's saying
iCloud.
that.
The problem that everyone is having, and this actually ties more back into the Apple is able to see the picture I'm about to send before I send it and say, hey, are you sure you want to send that? Where a lot of people are getting upset is, what about things that aren't illegal or that aren't illegal now?
Right,
Things like, have you ever gone to a meeting of the Communist Party? Have you ever
right.
gone to a protest or a rally or something like that? Where now we know they can read signs and they can literally recognize people. Obviously, that's been a thing for a while. And then to scan that before it goes anyplace and say, like what kinds of things 5 years from now might they be hashing to match in iCloud, and how problematic would that be? That was the big issue. Nobody is going, hey, hands off my child pornography.
Well,
Probably some people are, but
and the related side of that obviously is that the database that they're using now comes from the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, right? The
right.
fingerprinting database that
Yes.
they're matching against. But the question then becomes, and especially in light of some of the information that came out about the deals that Apple did with China, is what does it take for an organization to say, well, I want you to match these fingerprints also because you're doing business in our country and what have you. So the political economic pressures that could be put on Apple to look for other types of images, could be extreme. And so yeah, these are very pertinent things to worry about, right? Like
Yeah.
not trying to minimize that in any way, shape, or form, but I do find that the particular, CSAM part of this story is, there's other companies that basically have been doing this and just haven't been transparent about it. And so Apple comes out and is very upfront and sort of says, we're going to start doing this, right? And they get the biggest reaction. So, and again, it makes sense because it's Apple and, they are a huge tech company.
Yeah. And they did also, as you say, I mean, it was their transparency. They came out and I mean, it's not like a secret reading 3 pages down or 5 pages down to the TOS. It is, hey, here's the thing we're going to do. Get ready.